I wake up and I go to sleep thanking our Blessed Mother for every single day since the first day that I heard about Medjugorje. There's nothing like Medjugorje, nothing in this entire world. I vividly remember it was 1982. I was working for Yugoslav Airlines. And back in the day, the general manager was Mr. Pudar, who was born in Čapljina. So that's where his family was. His father was an Orthodox priest, and he came one day and he told us the story. And I believe that he was a communist, as most of the management was. But there was a certain tone in his voice and conviction which made me believe that what he said was truth. And I went off to work, and life was normal, but that story never left me. I believed that, like, this is the greatest story of a lifetime, but at no time would anybody from America, or at no time will I really get there. It was within a couple of years of hearing that story for the first time that I received telephone calls from various people, specifically 1983, 84, that they wanted to come to Medjugorje. And wow, that was incredible. How am I going to help these people? Selling them an airline ticket was easy, but getting them accommodations and getting them someone to help them here was more difficult. So I started making my own little channels, getting contacts, and started on the side perhaps organizing in my way what I thought would be a pilgrimage. And then I decided to open up my own pilgrimage company, because working for an airline whose management was communist at the time, there was a lot of fear of pursuing it that way. So I've certainly had many challenges. For one, I was of Orthodox background, and I was a Serbian woman, and I was very young. I was single. I was poor. I had kids. All of those were really big challenges. Also, I believed and I knew very well how Yugoslavia functioned as a communist land. And every one of those challenges, I believe, pushed me even harder to show I'm strong and I know who's in control, and I believe that it was from God, then the organization would work. I honestly didn't know back then what it would take to actually materialize, what the theology calls pilgrimage to be. But I trusted in the Lord, and I trusted in our Blessed Mother and in the simplicity of messages that it would come through. Since then, I've worked with 33 countries, and we work in pilgrimages throughout the world. I work with some of the biggest theologians in the world today. I've come to learn a lot, but the more I've learned, the more I've fallen back to that simplicity of what the calling truly means and how to overcome those obstacles. I was blessed to see, the communism crushed, and I give thanks to our Blessed Mother. It was a really, really incredibly special, not so much in like, this is my mission. I almost decided on what my mission was going to be in life before I even stepped into this village. And when I came here, there was an absolute conviction that everything that has been said is the truth. But I was a little disappointed I didn't see anything. And I kept on, of course, walking around and looking for some signs. And the signs were not external, they were internal. But that was a beautiful confirmation for my very, very humble beginning. I didn't know a thing about theology. I didn't know about Fatima or Lourdes. I did not know what I was doing, other than that I had this strong desire to help people come to this beautiful place. I believe that some of the best, some of the worst examples of how pilgrimages were and how pilgrimages are now is obviously that there was that home atmosphere when we first came to Medjugorje. There was a grandmother who was cooking a meal on a wooden stove with cat and a little dog next to her side with little babies crying. We all shared the same bathroom, all of our guests. Those were the moments where we also experienced praying the rosary all together in the family home. Versus now, we have the best of hotels, but the best of accommodations. We all have private baths. So the best is also not the best for those reasons. I've seen the Medjugorje from the moments of no buildings and no structures. So, but those are all physical elements. In the end, they don't really matter. How it changed physically has no difference at all. So many of our pilgrims right now in this group are first-time pilgrims, and honestly, I do not believe that they will miss what I'm reflecting on, because our Lord speaks to our hearts through our Blessed Mother, and that's it. That's all that matters. I wake up and I go to sleep thanking our Blessed Mother for every single day since the first day that I heard about Medjugorje. I was the tiniest instrument to many, many people who have come back to their homelands to tell their own communities about the love and all the messages that Our Lady has come to tell us. I feel incredibly blessed and so undeserving to be that instrument, but I feel it to this day as I did from the very beginning. I know very little, but I'm used in that littlest way. My mission is pilgrimages. That's what I live for. That's what I wake up for. I have often felt unworthy of the responsibility, because responsibilities are humongous. People sometimes call up and they expect you to have answers, and I, of course, direct them to the priest. The mission, the responsibility, and accepting the humbleness of how little you are in all of this is also one of the greatest lessons. If God could use me, He could use everybody, and that's what I have been trying all along to convince all of my group leaders. And they've taken that role. So I've taught them, and I owe a lot to them, really. I am behind the scenes most of the time. So I believe that Medjugorje, unlike any other destination in the world, you have to be called here. So we organize pilgrimages, for example, to Rome, to Jerusalem, to Paris, Lourdes. So people want to go to those destinations, and sometimes they're not sure, but they say, I'll see Rome. In order to come to Medjugorje, you have to have that calling from God. And once you're called and once you come, it is the unity with the people and with the family of people who then embrace that true love for God and the family unit. And it is that keeps so many people returning to Medjugorje. People don't return necessarily to other destinations, but they feel that they need that injection, and that the only presence, the divine presence, is here and in every church, of course, in the world. So for those reasons, there's no stopping somebody from coming to Medjugorje. I've had pilgrims that have come 100 times. There's nothing like Medjugorje, nothing in this entire world.